Listen, you got us into this mess, Mal. So go ahead, introduce yourself.
So I gotta start it.
I'm letting you hit it, baby. It's all you.
Hello and welcome. I'm Mallory, self-proclaimed Percy Jackson expert.
And I'm Julie, a Percy Jackson virgin.
We're here talking through Julie's first read-through of my favorite book series, determining if our friendship will survive, because if you don't like these, it's over for us.
It's putting a lot of pressure on me, I gotta say. I'm a bit worried.
Don't be, because I feel like you're gonna like it. You just, they're fun. Okay, so what do you already know going into this? Because we lived together for a hot second. I'm sure you've picked some things up from me. What do you already know?
Is this? It's mythology, right? Greek? I don't know. Is it Greek?
Yes.
Or Roman? Okay, it's Greek. Got it. I know you're obsessed with it, and that it kind of takes place in New York City because there are certain areas where you're like, this happened in Percy Jackson, and this happened here at Percy Jackson, and so that's kind of what I know. That's where we're at.
All right, fantastic. What do you already know about Greek mythology going into this? Because everything that I know, I learned from these books, so...
I'm gonna be honest, it's not much. I never really paid attention to the mythology sections in our English classes, so I'm really raw dogging this. I don't know. I mean, I know Zeus, all powerful. That's it. I know a little bit from Hadestown, and then the rest is just kind of we're gonna see how this goes.
Fantastic. Well, I can't wait. So kind of my reasons for starting this podcast are twofold. There are two sides to this. Number one, this is actually just a very complicated ruse to get you to share your thoughts with me. I had another friend start reading the books recently who I was like, oh my gosh, you're starting my favorite books. Please send me all your thoughts. And then I checked in 2 weeks later. I was like, hey, did you start reading? She's like, oh yeah, I read half of the first book. And I was like the ultimate betrayal. No one has ever been betrayed harder than I was in that moment. I was like, how could you not tell me that you had started these books? So this is I just need you to share your thoughts with me. And so podcast. Also, now that the show is coming out, these thoughts that I have been marinating on for 15 years need somewhere to go. And I have become that moment in Mean Girls where Katie is like, I spent 80% of my time talking about Regina and the other 20% of the time hoping someone else would bring it up. I need a structured place to talk about these books. My friends are getting annoyed with me. And, maybe if I set aside an hour a week to be annoying, I can be less annoying in real life. So those are my two reasons.
So I'm lifting the burden of you being annoying to your in real life friends.
Oh, for sure. And you know what? They'll thank you for it. If it works. I mean, me getting more annoying is always a possibility. So, yeah, how did I manage to con you into this? What made you agree?
Well, I've always wanted to do a podcast. I don't know why, but I think the world needs to hear my thoughts. And unfortunately, it will not be on my true passion of politics. It will be about this children's book series. However,
well, because so many men have podcasts and more women should have podcasts.
Yeah, it's really not fair. I saw these jokes about if your boyfriend got podcasting equipment for his birthday or for Christmas, throw it out. And I was like, you know what? I'm about to start a podcast, so I need to be that annoying person in my family's lives who is now a podcaster. So that's why I'm here, and I'm excited to learn more about something that you're really passionate about because we are friends, and that's how friendships work.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm excited. And even if you hate it, I feel like I have to still be your friend because you're taking this time with me. So every time I'm like, oh, we're not gonna be friends if you don't like it, it's not true.
Yeah, now that this is recorded, I'm going to clip that out because I need that just in case I don't like the books, and I'm gonna remind you of that. You said it. Everybody heard it that you said you were still gonna be friends with me even if I don't like the books. So you already said it. No takebacks.
Well, because there are some red flags that you've overlooked of mine. One of which that we'll probably get into when we discuss the next set of chapters.
Oh boy, I'm so excited.
Just by the way, no, that's coming. Yeah, so this is your demigod debut. That's what we're calling the podcast. So my own demigod debut. I'm going to talk about myself again for a minute. I first read these books in the year of our Lord 2009.
11?
What?
Were you 11? Is that right?
I was 11. I was 11. Yes. And I'm a big rereader, and so I don't remember much about like actually reading them for the first time, but I have a very vivid memory of one time like hiding in my closet, rereading the second one when I was like supposed to be doing something else, but I was hiding and rereading that. And then I don't know, it was just kind of like one of the books that I liked until high school when I had a friend ask like, "Oh, have you read The Heroes of Olympus, like the second series?" And I was like, "No, what is that?" And she like loaned me her books, and it was like right after the fourth one had come out, so then I like had to wait a year for the fifth one to come out, which is not at all as bad as the people who had to wait the year in between Mark of Athena and House of Hades. I see you, I respect you. I had to wait a weekend to like get the next book from my friend, and that was torture. So much respect to anyone who had to wait the entire year between those two books. That was kind of like that was when it really hit for me. I was like, oh, these books are fantastic. I'm gonna base my entire personality around them. Ever since then, I've just you know been very annoying about it. And then in college, I discovered that there was a musical. And as a reformed theater kid, that's like, I was like, this caters to my interest perfectly. Coming out here as a Lightning Thief musical stan. I know that's a hot take to some, but
Ooh, are we getting controversial?
it's very good. If I can find a way for you to like watch the musical, I will, because I feel like the musical is amazing and very important to me, and I think it's one of the best book to anything adaptations out there. And I will die on that hill, just like Redacted. Anyway,
Is that a spoiler? Is that what was that? What was that redacted?
okay. Before we start, do you have any initial predictions or thoughts going into it?
No, I gotta be honest. I was gonna make a prediction, and then I was like, you know what? We're really gonna raw dog it. I'm like, I don't. It's a kid's book. I'm not expecting much, and that's how we went into it. I read it. I started reading last night because I was like, oh shit, I forgot that I have to read 3 chapters, and then I finished it this morning right before I went on my hot girl walk, and I was like, this is really not good time management on my part, but yeah, no predictions, but I do have notes, so we're somewhat prepared. It'll be great.
Fantastic. I'm so glad that you have notes. Also, I feel like someone should be keeping account of how many times you say raw dog in this episode, because we're to
That's
2.
2. That's 2. Yeah.
All right.
I'll bring it up as much as possible.
Fantastic. All right, so chapter 1, I accidentally vaporized my pre-algebra teacher. This chapter opens on, dare I say, the most iconic opening page of all time. I have had this memorized since I was a child. Look, I didn't want to be a half-blood. If you're reading this because you think you might be one of us, my advice is, close this book right now. Believe whatever lie your mom and dad told you about your birth and try to live a normal life. Being a half-blood is dangerous. It's scary. Most of the time, it gets you killed in painful, nasty ways. If you're a normal kid reading this because you think it's fiction, great. Read on. I envy you for being able to believe that none of this ever happened. But if you recognize yourself in these pages, if you feel something stirring inside you, stop reading immediately. You might be one of us. And once you know that, it's only a matter of time before they know, and they will come for you. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Did you just do that from memory?
Yeah. When I said I had it memorized, I was not exaggerating. I was not exaggerating.
What have I gotten myself into?
Thank you. I don't know if that was word for word. All the different adaptations have like some weird variation of kind of that opening monologue, and so they blur together. But I think that was something. I also I just love a fourth wall break, and I also love a moment where it's like, hey, this story I'm about to tell you, I don't want you to hear don't read this. Don't read this story that it's like, because as a child you're like, oh, well, I'm gonna read it even harder now because you just told me not to. Iconic. So, do you have any thoughts on the first page? Because I kind of went crazy, but
Really? First of all, I was like, what am I getting myself into with these chapter titles? It feels very Tumblr humor that I'm getting into. I know this came out kind of before Tumblr's heyday.
honestly, I think that the chapter titles I feel like shaped Tumblr's humor. There's a lot of Percy Jackson girlies on Tumblr. That was one of the first things that I was into on Tumblr. And I feel like Percy Jackson's kind of humor and personality shaped a lot of us as children. So
That's very interesting. Now I feel like I need to read like a thesis or like a dissertation on like the origin of like this generation of Tumblr users. I think I need some scholarly work here. Maybe I'll write it. Maybe I'll do it.
if you find some, please let me know. All right, so post iconic opening monologue, Percy reveals he is 12 years old. He is a boarding student at Yancey Academy, a private school in upstate New York.
That's vague, by the way. Where the hell is upstate New York? That's the entire state of New York.
It is vague. Right, upstate New York is
the entire state.
Large.
The entire state.
And he is, by his own definition, a troubled kid. And so he's like, I could start at any point in my life, but it really started to get bad on this field trip we went to the Met to look at ancient Greek and Roman stuff. And we've been to the Met. We went to the Met together.
We did.
You did not like the Met, correct?
Okay, don't act like I was the only one who didn't like the Met. We had a conversation about how boring it was. Okay, so don't pin this on me. Like, we literally walked out and be like, this is kind of boring. Am I wrong? Am I misremembering that trip?
No, you're not wrong.
Okay, thank you.
But also we didn't go into the like Greek and Roman part, I don't think, that first time. Because I always have a good time looking at old Greek and Roman stuff, much like Percy is about to. There are two teachers on this trip. You've got Mr. Brunner, who has sort of excellent vibes. He's very much giving like that English teacher whose room that you would have lunch in. So he's got like a tweed jacket. He smells like coffee. He uses a wheelchair, and he's got a collection of Roman armor and weapons, which is excellent, but also
red flag.
A little bit of a red flag. Like if I just knew a dude who had weapons, like that's yes. Percy's like, oh, this field trip I'm not gonna get in trouble on, and explains previous times he's gotten in trouble on field trips, including shooting a cannon at a bus, which he says I wasn't aiming for the bus, which leads me to believe like we were aiming to shoot the cannon, but we weren't aiming for the bus. So like,
yeah, what?
Who was watching this child on this field trip?
This kid blew up he blew up his school bus. He's on a watch list somewhere. Like, I'm sure of it. Like, how the hell does something like that happen? Like, that's like ABC World News opening credits. Like, some kid blew up a school bus in upstate New York. That's what we're doing.
No, for sure. And then he hit the wrong lever and sent his class into the Shark Tank? Hello? Like, what kind of aquarium or whatever has a lever that like does that is within the like that the public can get to? That's insane. That's insane.
Like, what kind of Dr. Doofenshmirtz like Bond villain type stuff are we getting into here? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, like wild. Yeah, so on the way to the field trip, we are introduced to Nancy Bobofet, who is a redheaded kleptomaniac girl who is hitting his best friend Grover with chunks of a peanut butter and ketchup sandwich, which peanut butter and ketchup sandwich, red flag.
Ew. First of all, I don't like the demonization of a redhead here. Okay, why does she have to be a redhead, first of all? I hate that. Like,
definitely.
Come on.
Redhead, red flag.
The nerve.
Apologies to redheads everywhere, including you.
We're gonna boycott this podcast.
No! Not when we just started. We're also introduced to Grover, who is Percy's best friend. And Percy said, like, he's scrawny, he's older, was probably held back because he's got, like, the start of a beard and acne. He's disabled. The book says crippled. Don't like the use of that word.
It was written in 2005, so.
But we're just gonna say it was 2005 and kind of go, and move on. Percy says, like, Grover might be disabled, but he will run for enchiladas, and he's real for that. Yeah, so we're throwing wads of sandwich, and Percy's like, I wish that I had just hit her right then and there, because it's nothing like the trouble I was about to get myself into, which he's so ominous.
He really is. Like, he's a very dramatic 12-year-old boy. Like, it's like, calm down. Like, you're going to be okay, kid. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be okay. He could very much not be okay. But this is a little dramatic for a 12-year-old boy, I feel like.
Cool. So they're looking at Greek stuff, and we're introduced to the other teacher that's on this field trip, Mrs. Dodds, who teaches math, is from Georgia, and wears a black leather jacket even though she's 50 years old. Which...
Badass.
Mrs. Dodds is an icon. Like, unfortunately, she just is. And if I was still a math teacher, that's the kind of math teacher I would want to be. Like, leather jacket.
Rocking it into the 50s. Yeah.
Kind of mean. Secretly a monster. All the things.
Gives big lesbian vibes.
Yes. So true. And, you know, it is Mrs. Dodds. So she's got a wife. She's got a wife somewhere. We're calling it now.
Yeah, manifesting it.
Everyone's a lesbian, actually. Like, that's
so true.
And the thing that really gets me here is one time Percy told Grover he didn't think Miss Dodds was human, and Grover looked at him and was like, you're absolutely right. Like, if they knew she wasn't human, like, why didn't we do anything about it sooner? Like, why did we wait for him to get attacked on the field trip? I'm getting ahead of myself in this chapter, but it's just a question that I have. They talk about the myth of Kronos eating his kids, which is fun and gross. Greek mythology really is a good time. And Mr. Brunner says, like, Percy, you have to discover why this matters in real life. And Percy's like, it doesn't. Which is untrue.
May I just note, Grover, great sidekick name. Like, they really nailed it with that one. Like, big sidekick energy right there.
It is a good sidekick name. You're right. That's a good sidekick name. Percy goes outside to have lunch, and they're sitting on the steps of the Met, and he's like, oh, my mom lives a little way uptown from here. I want to get in a taxi, and I want to go uptown. Yeah, so he lives a little way uptown from the Met, which they live in Manhattan. That feels like money, rich, but they're not.
Right. Like, upper East Side, like, the mom works, the stepdad is kind of like a loser. I'm like, where uptown are you? Are you like Harlem? Are you like Bronx? Like, how far uptown are you?
Well, okay. Disclaimer, Brooklyn girl here, don't know all that much about Manhattan neighborhoods, but did just start working in the Upper East Side, so I spend a lot of time up there. But the address that he gives is 104th and 1st. That's too far north to be Upper East Side. That's East Harlem. I'm like 95% sure. As a Brooklyn girly, I'm pretty sure that is not the Upper East Side, but which then you're looking at a little bit less expensive, but still, like, that's 2005. Maybe New York was less expensive somehow.
We're gonna start some discourse about New York City neighborhoods. We're starting discourse. I'm excited. I want to get into it.
You want to get into discourse about New York City neighborhoods?
9/11 had just happened, you know.
That is true.
9/11 had just happened. Rents were probably terrible. I had to bring up 9/11 at some point. You know I did. And that's just who I am as a person. We're going to get... Even if we were monetized, which probably never going to happen, we would immediately get demonetized for me bringing this up.
You will make this political.
Oh, absolutely. You think I'm going to read these books and not try to connect it to my own interests? Absolutely not. Come on. Do you even know who I am?
No, no, no.
That's
There
good
are
for
some
you.
things that I'm like really, really excited to talk about. Kind of once we get more into like the connections between the Greek gods and the real world, like I'm very excited to um unpack some of that.
May I note, this is not the first time Mal has made me read a book for her own enjoyment of my reaction to it. The first one was Red, White, and Royal Blue, and we had many thoughts about that book. We should have had an episode about that. That would have been actually hilarious. When the movie came out, that would have been
We should have
funny.
started a podcast about Red, White, and Royal Blue
That would have
for
been
sure.
hilarious.
Yeah, because lots of politics in that one. Lots of
Yeah.
politics in that one.
Anyway, back to this.
All right, so back to the book. So they're eating whatever. Nancy comes and dumps her lunch on Grover, and then Percy's like, I was so mad that my mind went blank, and all of a sudden Nancy's in the fountain, and she's like, Percy pushed me.
First of all, she knows that's not true.
But does she? Does she think it's true? Because also, like, if something like this happened to me, I probably wouldn't trust my own memory of the event because I wouldn't be like, oh, the water from the fountain like grabbed me and pulled me into the fountain. I would be like, oh, Percy pushed me into the fountain. So like it makes sense that she thinks that, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give it to her. Redhead solidarity, you know. I'll give her this one.
Right. Redhead solidarity. Then Mrs. Dodds lures him off into the museum, which again, you have to question Grover here. Like if you already have shown that you suspect that this person is not human and might be a monster, like why would you let your friend get lured off into the museum with her? Like make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Bad sidekick energy. Lazy. That's what it is.
Bad sidekick energy for sure. They go into the museum and Mrs. Dodds is like, oh, did you think you were going to get away with it? We're not fools. Confess and you'll suffer less pain, which is like excellent villain energy coming from her right then. And Percy's like, what is she talking about? And the things that he can come up with are he's selling illegal candy out of his dorm room, and that they somehow found out about that. Or they found out that he got his essay on Tom Sawyer from the internet, and they're going to take away his grade, or worse, make him read the book.
So true. I hate that book.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Relatable.
But this also made me kind of sad because I'm like, oh, this is the last time that he's gonna have like normal 6th grade problems. Like these are normal 6th grade problems. And she's about to make this not a normal 6th grade problem. Because then she turns into this shriveled hag, in Percy's words, with bat wings, claws, and yellow fangs.
Icon.
Hold on. I made myself laugh and I couldn't make the joke I wanted to make. And say I was gonna say, stop laughing. More lesbians should be shriveled hags. That's all I'm saying.
So true. So true. Representation matters.
Exactly. So all of a sudden Mr. Brunner is there and he gives Percy all of a sudden has a pen. And then once he grabs the pen, it's not a pen anymore, it's a sword. And he literally swings it once and Mrs. Dodds turns into dust, which is wild. Like the fact that this fight scene is literally like a single page is crazy. Like he got very lucky here.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about how fast he destroys this monster. So she dissolves into powder. All of a sudden he's alone with a ballpoint pen in his hand. Mr. Brunner isn't there. No one's there but him. He's like, oh my god, my lunch must have been drugged. Which he's real for that. He comes outside and everyone is like, oh, the teacher we've had for months is Mrs. Kerr or Kerr. I don't know how you say that. And then everybody's like, who's Mrs. Dodds? There's never been a Mrs. Dodds. We are entering our gaslight gatekeep girl boss era. Mrs. Dodds never existed. Yeah, and that's the first chapter. So we're on a field trip, destroyed a monster, and everyone is gaslighting Percy. Thoughts on the first chapter?
Yeah. So many questions, first of all, which I assume most people would probably have after they read this. Most people being children. Like, who is they that Miss Dodds was referring to? Why did they want to kill Percy? Why? Why? And also, with, I was saying Kerr, Mrs. Kerr, her existence, is that like reality somehow altered after Mrs. Dodds died? Or like how, I'm very confused about how that happened. Like, because obviously all of these normal children believe that their teacher was Mrs. Kerr the whole time now. But but I guess I don't understand how this whole, like, are we getting in a multiverse thing? What's happening? I'm confused.
I am not going to answer your questions.
That's not helpful. I have questions. You're a teacher. You're supposed to answer questions.
Yes, but spoilers. Yes, excellent things to point out.
Ugh.
You will get answers to those questions if that helps.
Well, I would hope so, honestly, as a reader. I am intrigued. I'll give you that. The first 12, or what is it? I don't even know how many pages are in the first chapter. We had
15.
thrilling action, if not short-lived. And, you know, I'm interested to see where this is gonna go. I have a lot of questions, no answers from you or who wrote this. There's not even the authors on the front cover.
Rick Riordan.
Oh, yes, it is. I just can't read the big red letters. Yep. You should cut that out because I'm a moron. Yeah, cut that part out. I don't want people to know I'm a moron.
Well, now I have to leave because it's funny.
No, you don't. No.
Well, either way, I'm saving that audio clip. You'd be like, cut that out. I'm a moron.
It's a new soundbite. Yeah, it's a new bit.
All right.
It's fine.
Yeah, I think ultimately, it's a good first chapter, because it does leave you with more questions than answers. Like, Percy doesn't know what's going on, you don't know what's going on, and so you're like, I gotta keep reading to figure out what's going on.
We're in the same boat here, yeah. Me and Percy, we're pals.
All right, chapter 2. 3 old ladies knit the socks of death. The gaslight era continues. Percy calls it a 24/7 hallucination, and he tries to spring like Mrs. Dodds references on people, but everybody has no idea what he's talking about except for Grover, who is a bad liar. And so that tells Percy that like something did happen at the museum. And so he's having nightmares. The weather is weird. His grades get bad. He's going from D's to F's, which makes sense because everyone is gaslighting him. He snaps at an English teacher, calls him an old sot. I don't know what that means either.
It's not nice, whatever it is.
And he is officially not invited back to Yancey Academy for the 7th grade. And he's like, fine, I want to be back with my mom in our apartment on the Upper East Side, even if I have to go to public school and put up with my obnoxious stepfather, which the address is not in the Upper East Side. It's not. East Harlem. And so he's like, I would miss Grover and I would miss Mr. Brunner. And he's finally starting to believe that Latin would actually be life or death for him, which, did your middle school have Latin class?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, yeah, no, mine didn't either.
I went to public school.
Okay, yeah, so did I. This feels very, like, that's very rich private school class.
Oh, yeah.
So Percy, studying for his final, having a bad time, and decides he's going to go to Mr. Brunner's office and ask him for help, or at least apologize for the F that he's about to get on his test. When he gets there, he overhears Grover talking, and he says he's worried about Percy. And Percy says he's not an eavesdropper, but when you hear your best friend talking to you about, like, talking about you with an adult, you listen, which, so true. Grover's like, oh, there was this monster in the school, and now that we know for sure, and they know, and Mr. Brunner's like, no, it's not time. Grover says something about a summer solstice deadline, and Mr. Brunner's like, we're gonna have to do it without him, and insists that like it was all Percy's imagination, and it's fine, and like it's not time yet. And Grover says something about how he cannot fail again, and Mr. Brunner tells him that he hasn't failed, and they just have to keep Percy alive until next fall. And Percy drops his book, and something much taller than his teacher in a wheelchair makes a shadow. And he sees something that looks like it might be an archer's bow. And then when he returns back to the room, Grover's there as if he's been there all night, and Percy is very upset that his best friend and his teacher had been talking about him behind his back, and they thought he was in some kind of danger. Yeah, so that's my summary for that part. Any thoughts? Any thoughts on the conversation he overheard?
No, I gotta be honest. That's not what. Or is this when he called him a kindly one, or was that on the bus
Yes.
before?
Yes.
Yeah. So don't know what that is. Excited to learn what that means. Also, the solstices being very important deadlines for some reason. Is that a mythology thing? I don't know, but I picked up on that.
Yeah, it's definitely a trend. It's definitely a trend in these books.
Oh, I have another thing. I forgot. So all of these things that happen to Percy, like the bad things, happen when he's not at Yancey. Is Yancey under some sort of home base protection or something for him where like nothing bad can happen to him there? It always has to be when he's left the grounds of the school? Or is that something you can't tell me?
Oh, interesting. Interesting. I will not answer that question,
Ah, damn it, Mal.
but it's an interesting theory. Well, but even if that is the case, he is not invited back. So
That's just mean, you know? You call someone an old sot once and it's game over. Where's the sense of humor? Still don't know what it means. Watch it be like a slur or something.
I'm gonna Google
That'd
it
be really bad.
because we've also now both said it.
Or I'm looking it up right now. Like, oh, it's a heavy drinker. Oh,
Oh,
come on.
oh, that's not even bad.
Like that just means you're. Oh wait, so another word for being cool?
So true.
Like, come on, give me a break. It's such a lame reason to expel a kid. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that was probably just the final straw.
Yeah, probably.
All right, so after the final, Mr. Brunner tells Percy, "Don't be discouraged about leaving. It's for the best. You're not normal, Percy. It's nothing." And Percy's like, "What the hell are you talking?" Like he's like, "What? Like here's my favorite teacher like telling me that I getting kicked out is for the best. Like I was destined to get kicked out. The heck?"
Yeah, are you calling me a weirdo? Like that's not very nice.
Didn't really do what he was wanting there. So Percy goes off to pack for home, and all the other rich kids at the school were talking about their like fabulous vacation plans. And Percy just said he's going back to the city, and he's bummed out about saying bye to Grover, but surprised they don't have to because Grover's taking the bus back to Manhattan with him.
Nightmare. Nightmare, by the way.
What's a nightmare?
Taking a bus to New York City, Port Authority, nightmare. Nightmare.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Grover's very nervous, looking around, and Percy asks, "Are you looking for kindly ones?" And Grover's like, "What do you mean?" And then Grover continues to try to gaslight him to be like, "Percy, I was just worried about you hallucinating about demon math teachers." And Percy tells him, "You're a really bad liar." Grover gives him his business card, which is very fancy, with a Half-Blood Hill, Long Island, New York address on it. And Percy kind of thinks this is a bummer. He's like, "I can't believe Grover has a summer home, and that he's as rich as everyone else." And Grover tells Percy that he was supposed to protect him. And Percy's like, "What are you supposed to protect me from? Because like I've been protecting you from bullies all year long." All of a sudden, the bus kind of breaks down. They get out of the bus, look across the street. There is a fruit stand, and there are 3 old ladies knitting some massive socks with electric blue yarn. And these women are like ancient. They have wrinkled faces, and they're looking right at Percy. As they're looking at Percy, they cut the string that they are knitting with some scissors. Percy says he can hear the snip across 4 lanes of traffic. So like this is big. He tells Grover that he saw them cut the cord, and then Grover freaks out and he's like, "Oh, I don't want this to be like last time." And Percy's like, "What last time?" And then Grover starts talking about how they never get past 6th grade. Then Percy's like, "Wait, the snipping of the yarn, is someone gonna die?" And he says Grover is looking at him like he is trying to decide what kind of flowers he would like on his coffin, which is dark. But yes, more drama. Probably more questions for you than answers yet again. But thoughts on chapter 2?
So many questions. First of all, mention of the black smoke and like smell of rotten eggs. That's very similar to what happened with Mrs. Dodds, right? There's black smoke and sulfur smell. So I'm like, this could be related to whatever happened on the bus. Also, noting the significance of electric blue yarn. I don't know if that means anything, the color electric blue, but I just noted it. And also, by the way, there's a difference between a coffin and a casket. So the author probably meant casket, not coffin. Just saying. Just saying. Noting that.
Thank you for that note. Yeah. This like snipping of the yarn is something I have a lot of thoughts on, and I sent like a 4-minute long voice message to a friend about it earlier today, actually. But we will not get into that until we get to the death that is foretelling. Sorry.
Come on. Okay, well, it's not gonna be Percy, obviously. Is Grover gonna die? Because that would make me actually really sad. I feel like if he fails again, they should probably kill him. Like, just
This
sorry,
is a
dude. That's
children's
what you
book.
get.
This is a children's book.
They killed someone off in the first chapter. What do you mean?
She was a monster. She was a math teacher. Math teachers. I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
You're so right. You're so right. No, say it. Be brave. Say it.
Math teachers deserve to die. I'm just kidding. I was a math teacher for about 6 months in 2020.
Canceled.
And you know what? When I was a math teacher, I might have deserved to get hit with a sword a little bit. We're gonna breeze on past that. Moving on to chapter 3. Grover unexpectedly loses his pants. Another great chapter title.
Gross, by the way. Like, this is supposed to be, I know he's not, but supposed to be a child. Disgusting.
We open with Percy immediately ditching Grover at the bus stop, which is valid because Grover's being weird and sketchy. And here's where we get the East 104th and 1st address, which is not the Upper East Side. It is East Harlem, according to my knowledge of Manhattan neighborhoods. And then Percy is immediately a mama's boy when he's like, a word about my mother before you meet her. She's Sally Jackson. She's the best woman in the world. And then he gets into her tragic backstory where her parents died and she was raised by an uncle. She was going to go to college to become a novelist, but had to quit school when her uncle got cancer. And so then he died and she had no money and no diploma and no family. But she met Percy's dad, who was apparently rich and important, but they never got married. And he went on a journey and got lost at sea, which, any guesses? Any guesses who Percy's dad could be? I mean, you don't know anything about Greek mythology, you said, but any guesses?
It's Poseidon, isn't it? He's the sea one, right?
Maybe so.
No, his dad is King Triton from the Little Mermaid. That's my guess. That's official. I'm saying it now.
Okay, you're locking that one in.
Yeah.
So then Percy has this stepdad who he calls Smelly Gabe and says that he reeks like moldy garlic pizza wrapped in gym shorts, which is a very specific. I feel like I can smell that. Like, I know, ooh, that's a very specific way to describe that smell. So then he gets home and Gabe is playing poker with some friends and seems terrible and immediately asks Percy if he has any money, which he's 12. Like, why is this child providing your gambling money? Percy also says he looks like a tuskless walrus in thrift store clothes.
That's so relatable.
Which again is a very specific image, and I can see that. Percy says he's expected to provide his gambling funds, and he calls it his quote unquote guy secret, meaning if I told my mom, he would punch my lights out. And that makes me wonder, is that just a threat, or has Gabe been putting his hands on Percy? Because
yeah, is he a piece of shit? Like, I will go to war against this man.
Because yeah, I will throw hands with this man. The thing that really gets me here, Percy's like, I don't have any cash, and Gabe's like, well, if you took a cab from the bus station, paid with a 20, you probably got $6 or $7 in change. Now, okay, if he's coming from Port Authority to the Upper East Side, it's like very far.
$20 would not cover that.
I mean, 2005, but I work on the Upper East Side, and I tried to take an Uber from work to Port Authority to take a bus a couple weeks ago, and it was like $50. And so I had to like lug my suitcase onto the train because I was like, I'm not paying $50 for this Uber. So hearing that it was like $13-14 for him to take this cab, I was like, I wish I lived in New York in 2005, because
yeah, Also, we know Gabe has a car, so why the hell did he not go pick up Percy from the? I mean, we know he's a piece of shit, so that's why. But he could have picked him up from the train station. He's a 12-year-old boy. What the hell?
You know, I never even considered that. Wow. Yet another way that this man sucks. Then Percy's mom comes home, and Percy, once again, mama's boy, is like, my mom could make me feel better just by walking in the room. He's like, she smells like candy. She only sees the good things about me. And I'm like, Sally Jackson, please adopt me. You seem wonderful. And she tells him that they're going to go to Montauk, to this like cabin that they always go to. Percy's filling her in on the year. He gets up to the museum and she's like, "Oh, did something happen?" He's like, "No." Then she's like, okay, well, when we get to Montauk, you can tell me about whatever you've forgotten to tell me." So Sally knows something. Then you have Gabe, like, gatekeeping the car, and Percy being like, he's not gonna let us go. And I'm like, this man is controlling and awful and
Fuck
terrible,
this guy.
and we hate him.
Also, his last name is like Ugliano. Lovely. That's great writing. I love it.
Yeah, that's how you know he's a villain, because his name is Ugliano.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so then they get in the car and Gabe's like, not one scratch on my car. And Percy's like, I'm not gonna be the one driving. Like, you're an idiot. Which I love. So they get to Montauk and this little rental cabin that seems really run down, and he says there's like sand in the sheets and spiders in the cabinets and the sea is too cold, but he loves it. And it is the place where his mom met his dad. And they get there and they eat blue food, which I love the blue food. It's so cute. Gabe was like, there's no such thing as blue food. And Sally's like, you know what? Screw you. And then makes everything blue.
First of all, blueberries. Hello. This guy's a moron.
Well, some would argue that blueberries are purple. Like, not to advocate for smelly Gabe here, but
Not on the outside. They're blueberries. No. We're not doing this. We're not getting into blueberry discourse on this Percy Jackson podcast. We're not doing it. It's like it's a grape purple, but when you peel it, it's green, and I'm not doing this.
okay,
We're not.
that's fair.
No.
Right. So between the blue candy and the fact that she kept her maiden name, we're proving that she is rebellious and not totally suckered by Gabe, which love. And so Percy said what's always on his mind when he comes to Montauk is his dad. So he asked his mom about his dad, and she's like, he was great. He would be so proud of you. And Percy's like, what's so great about me? A dyslexic, hyperactive boy with a D+ report card, kicked out of the 6th school in 6 years? Like, poor guy, honestly. And then Percy's like, how old was I when he left? And learns that he never actually met his father, which doesn't feel right to him because he feels like he remembers something about his father, a warm glow and a smile. Then that makes him kind of angry. He's like, why did he go on that stupid sea voyage and leave us here stuck with Gabe?
Deadbeat dad.
Deadbeat dad. This is actually just a book series about daddy issues. So if you're not prepared for that, get out now.
Oh boy, I'm so ready.
Well, okay, I can't say it's just daddy issues. Some of them have mommy issues, and
I draw the line at mommy issues. Mommy issues are way more fucked up than daddy issues. Let's be real. Oh my god, let's be so real about that. Mommy issues way worse.
No, you're right. You're so right.
Date a man or a woman who has daddy issues versus mommy issues. You will understand this immediately. Anyway, that's my little rant about that.
What about someone who has both?
You know what? I haven't had the pleasure of that one yet, so I'm not sure. It could turn out well. Could be a nightmare. Really depends.
I'm thinking about a specific character when I say that, and anyway, we're just gonna breeze on past that one.
We're gonna therapize every character in this book by the end of the podcast series. I'm convinced.
Exactly.
We're gonna fix them all.
Well, I feel like any of these books where you have children who are like having to save the world, there needs to be some like mental health care for these children, because you are just like consistently giving them trauma and like making them fight for their lives. Like, that's not fair.
True.
But also, like, when you're a kid, you don't really understand that. You're just like, this seems cool. Like, this is cool as hell. Like, I want to be a hero. I want to be a half-blood. That's why Percy's little warning in the beginning doesn't work. Because I know, like, when I was a kid and I read it, I listened to him tell me I didn't want to be a half-blood. It's dangerous. And I was like,
yeah.
Okay, so which of my parents is the god? Because this rocks. This is so cool. Yeah. All right. So Percy's like, Mom, are you going to have to send me away again? And Sally said, I have to. It's for your own good because you're special. And I thought Yancey Academy would be far enough away to keep you safe. And Percy's like, safe from what? And then he remembers all these crazy things that have happened, including in 3rd grade, a man in a black trench coat stalking him on the playground who he realized only had one eye. And then in preschool, a teacher had put him down for a nap, and a snake like crawled into his little cot, and he strangled it to death. Which, unless I'm misremembering my mythology, is a thing that happened to Hercules.
Interesting. I just got a laugh out of the image of like a little tiny baby hand strangling a snake. I thought that was hilarious because babies have little fat hands, little tiny baby fat hands. Very cute.
Little fat baby fingers.
Yeah, they're so cute. Oh, babies.
And he's like, you know what? In every single school, something crazy had happened, something that was unsafe, and he had been forced to move. And so he was like, I know I need to tell my mom about like the old ladies that I saw and what happened with Mrs. Dodds. He's like, but he knows that if he does, it would like end their trip, and he doesn't want that to happen. And so Sally tells him that there's this summer camp that his dad wanted him to attend, and he's like, my dad, who never even met me, was like thought it was important enough to tell you that I needed to go to this summer camp. He's like, and why had my mom never mentioned this before? And she's like, I'm sorry, I can't talk about it because if I send you there, it could mean saying goodbye to you for good. Dramatic and crazy, but she's not wrong.
It's all very cryptic and things that you wouldn't usually say to a 12-year-old boy, but none of this is normal, so I'm just rolling with it. Rolling with whatever comes out of this woman's mouth.
These chapters are just entirely meant to be like cryptic and not give you any more information than you already have. Like it's just very it's very ominous. Like you're like something is coming and you're just like waiting for it to happen. So then that night Percy has a dream about an eagle and a horse that are fighting, and he knows that he has to stop them, but he's like running in slow motion and he can't get there in time, and the eagle like dives down and it's going to get the horse, and then he wakes up. Which haha, dream symbolism. The dreams are a big thing. We have a lot of dreams in these books.
Ooh, we're gonna do some dream analysis. I love it.
I enjoy dreams as a plot device as well. I think it's really fun in fantasy books when they like give you a peek at what's going on elsewhere. They like give you glimpses of the future in dreams. So, big fan of dreams.
Also, great Fleetwood Mac song.
Wait, what is a great Fleetwood Mac song?
Dreams. Oh my god. Come on, Mal.
I'm sorry. I only listen to Taylor Swift.
Have you never heard Dreams?
I probably have.
Oh my god, we're getting canceled right now. I'm sending you probably have. You know this song. I'm going to send it to you after this. Unbelievable. Okay, continue.
So, his mom's like, it's a hurricane, and it's too early in the summer for a hurricane, which like okay, but a hurricane is currently happening. So there's pounding on the door. His mom opens it, and Grover is standing there. And Percy says, but he wasn't exactly Grover. And he's like, I've been searching all night. And Sally's like, oh my god, what happened at school? You didn't tell me. And Grover's like, it's right behind me. It's coming. And then Sally's like, Percy, you have to tell me what's going on. And so he like real quick is like, oh, this thing happened. And so Sally's like, you got to get in the car. Let's go. And as they're running for the car, Percy finally tells us that the story about like Grover having a muscular disorder and being like disabled finally made sense because he has no feet. He has hooves. And that is the end of chapter 3, and that is the end of what you have read to. So, thoughts on chapter 3?
Big major Wendy Wu vibes. Please tell me you know what I'm saying.
Okay, it has been years since. Are you referencing like a specific thing that happens in Windy Woo?
No, the whole story. Like, you know, like this.
Oh,
the idea
okay.
of this girl. She's just trying to live her normal life, right? And then she has this like sidekick who comes out of nowhere. I can't remember his name. I've seen this movie like 80 times. I used to watch it all the time as a kid. And he's trying to like protect her from like the evil fight that she's about to go on. But she has no idea. She's like, I just am trying to be a teenage girl and become homecoming queen. And then she has to go through all this training to become a warrior. I don't know if he does training or anything, but the beginning part of where she was like totally clueless and then this guy shows up and is like her mentor kind of thing throughout it just reminded me of that. And then I love Wendy Wu. The Homecoming Queen is a great movie. Everybody should go watch it. It also came out right after this book, like a year after.
Wow, maybe Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior was based on Percy Jackson. Anyway, I have not thought about that movie in years, so thank you for
You're so
that.
welcome.
Other not Wendy Wu related thoughts.
Yeah, so Dad's a god, is that what we're saying? Is that the half-blood part? Like he's half human, half god? Is that the terminology? I don't know. I don't know what the other half is, so I'm like confused. See,
yeah. I mean, I'll give you that one for free. Yeah,
Thank you.
he is.
Thank you. Finally you answer a question. I feel like I'm like congressperson or something trying to get you to answer a question. Anyway, so Mom knew about Percy, clearly. Hid it from him. Not very smart, in my opinion, but I guess he is a 12-year-old boy. So what do you do with that information? And Grover's like half horse. I don't like that. He's like a centaur. Is that right? I don't know. It's freaking me out though. I don't like it. Is he a centaur? What is he? What? He's like got hooves. Is he still part person?
He is. He's got like person top. He's just got animal legs. And
now wait. So he loses his pants. Is he also naked up top, or does he have a shirt on? That's what I need to know.
I would assume he has a shirt on, but yeah. Do you have any predictions or thoughts going forward? I mean, you've only read 3 chapters.
So big womp womp. I think Mom's gonna die. I just feel like he has to go through that trauma. I don't know how she's gonna die, but I feel like they're gonna kill her just to put my boy through some more stuff. Let's see. I need a training montage. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I really want it to. I need a training montage so he can figure out all his cool powers with the water and stuff. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to.
Excellent. Well, also next time you'll get to meet the fictional character of all time, my very favorite character in anything ever. So I'm excited for that.
Is it a girl? Is it the girl in the show that I keep seeing pictures of that looks like that one actress from The Bear?
Oh,
is it her?
Yes, it is her. Love her.
That's the only thing on social media I've seen about Percy Jackson. It's everybody saying that this girl from the show looks exactly like the younger version of Ao Edebiri. Eddie Beery, is that how you say her last name? Who's in The Bear and in like a million movies this year. But that's the only thing I've seen on social media, so I've been pretty spoiler free.
I did see a tweet that was like they need to play like siblings in something, and yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Fantastic. I'm so glad that you were finally reading these books. And I'm so glad the first 3 chapters didn't scare you away, clearly.
No, not yet. I mean, we'll see. Well, there was only like 45 pages, so there's still time. There is still time.
There is still time. I don't think it's gonna. I think you'll stick with it. At least you better.
You know what? My goal, I'm at least gonna get through I'm not gonna quit on the first book. I might quit after that, depending on the reception of this. However, I'm gonna at least finish the book. I'll give you that one.
All right, good. I hope you stick with it longer than the first book, but if you don't, at least you will have given me this.
I'm so gonna make you read something, by the way, in retaliation. Like I'm gonna make you read a poli-sci book or something that'll make you want to put your head through a wall. Not that I'm not enjoying this, but I think it'd be funny to watch you react to that.
Okay. I will, if it's only fair. Yeah. Well, next time we will do chapters 4 through 6, which is exciting. That's when you'll finally start to get some answers, at least, for some of your questions.
So. Okay. I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna make up a list of questions and see how many of them get answered. I feel like.
Yes, a list of questions. That's a good idea. So, we'll see you next time for chapters 4 through 6 of The Lightning Thief.
And more unhinged content.
and more unhinged content. Hello, Mal here. If you made it this far, thanks for listening. If you for some reason want more of our nonsense, you can follow us on Instagram or the social media formerly known as Twitter at DemigodDebutPod, or you can email us at demigoddebut@gmail.com. And by us, I do mean me. Julie is on social media lockdown until she reads the books. We'll see you next time. Bye!